The Haunting of Valak in the Abandoned Cathedral. Deep within the outskirts of a forgotten town stood St. Benedict's Cathedral, a crumbling relic of the past. Its once grand towers now loomed like skeletal fingers against the darkened sky. The cathedral had been abandoned for decades, rumors of unspeakable horrors keeping people away. The most chilling tale spoke of a vengeful spirit, a demon nun named Valak, who was said to haunt the hallowed grounds. One fateful evening, a group of friends, Lila, James, Ethan, and Sarah, decided to investigate the legend. Armed with flashlights, a camera, and a recorder, they entered the cathedral, their footsteps echoing eerily in the vast, empty space. The air inside was damp and cold, carrying the faint scent of mildew and decay. Rows of pews stretched into darkness, their wood rotting and warped. At the far end, the altar stood shrouded in shadow, flanked by massive, stained glass windows that depicted saints with hauntingly distorted faces. "This place gives me the creeps," Sarah murmured, clutching Lila's arm. "Relax," Ethan said, though his voice wavered. "It's just an old building." As they approached the altar, the recorder began to pick up a faint static. James frowned and adjusted the device. "Did you hear that?" Before anyone could respond, a low, sinister laugh echoed through the cathedral, bouncing off the stone walls. The group froze. "Who's there?" Lila called, her voice trembling. Suddenly, the stained glass windows seemed to glow, their colors shifting unnaturally. From the shadows near the altar, a figure emerged. It was a nun, her habit torn and her face deathly pale. Her hollow eyes seemed to pierce through them and her mouth twisted into a grotesque smile. It was Valak. "Leave now," the nun hissed, her voice guttural and layered with malice. Panic set in as the friends stumbled backward. The cathedral seemed to come alive around them. Pews creaked as if something unseen moved them, and the air grew heavy, almost suffocating. "We need to get out," James shouted, grabbing Sarah's hand. But the doors they had entered through were now shut tight, and no amount of force could budge them. The group was trapped. Valak advanced slowly, her form shifting and flickering, as if she were both there and not there. The friends screamed as the candles on the altar burst into flames, casting a hellish glow over the room. In a desperate attempt, Ethan held up the cross he had brought. "Stay back," he yelled. Valak stopped, her expression twisting into rage. With a flick of her hand, the cross flew from Ethan's grip and shattered against the wall. "Your faith is weak," Valak sneered, her voice reverberating like thunder. The friends scrambled toward the side entrance, finding a narrow staircase that spiraled downward. They descended into the crypt, hoping for an escape. Instead, they found rows of decayed coffins and the air thick with the stench of death. Valak was already there, her laughter filling the chamber. One by one, the friends disappeared into the darkness, their screams swallowed by the void. The next morning, the cathedral stood silent as ever, its doors ajar as if inviting new visitors. Inside, there was no trace of the four friends, only the faint sound of laughter and a shadowy figure watching from the altar.